So what I'm going to go over tonight is basically the question I get a lot when it comes to regarding training for athletes. And then you'll see in front of you here, we have a basic template that I use when I program for an athlete coming in. All right. Now again, this is just a generalized template that we work from. This isn't the same for everybody. Depending on if they're on a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 day program, things could be different more or less. So um, typically, we'll go off of this template and work from there. All right. So let's go over what we kind of do, and then if you guys have any questions, you can just post them below. So you'll see we always start with a speed or a power training exercise. You'll see here on 1A, and I'll tell you what that means in a minute. But we primarily utilize the Olympic lifts for most everybody when they come in. Now, it's not for everyone that comes in, but typically most people, unless they're completely novice to training, we might start them on a medicine ball exercise, such as a throw for distance or height. We might have them do some basic jumps, such as a box jump, standing long jump, vertical jump, something like that. Or even a weighted jump. Okay, the possibilities here are pretty much endless. You can be really creative with this. All right. But typically, I'm just gonna use Olympic lifting as an example because that's what we like to gear everyone towards eventually. And even if they are using Olympic lifts in their training, we'll still have them do jumps as well. Okay, so I'll kind of show you how that works. All right, so let's just use an example. We have a 15-year-old male high school football player, okay, and he's underweight, and he wants to put on some muscle for the season, and he also wants to increase his vertical jump and run a faster 40. So I am going to program day 1 for him, and since he was playing football, I would like to assume that utilizing the Olympic lifts for him will be okay, barring any sort of injury in the past or whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to put our first day that we usually utilize for somebody when they come in is some sort of snatch variation. So I'm going to write 2-position snatch. Okay, and that means we're doing one snatch from the hip, one from the knee, and we want to throw in an overhead squat in there as well. So typically we'll have somebody come in and do a power snatch if they've never done this before. It's pretty simple to teach with our progression and the overhead squat. We like to program that as well. We might also either put the overhead squat first by an exercise in itself, or we might even omit it. Okay, but I'm assuming this kid's athletic, and we've already seen that he can overhead squat perfectly fine. So we're going to keep it in. All right, and then we write a couple warm-up sets in. Again, depending on the athlete, we'll probably do a bar set for 3 reps, 2 or 3. We'll add a little bit more to the bar for 2 or 3. We might do one more light warm-up set. These are all in kilos, guys. Okay. And we'll go into our work sets, and we'll do 3 to 4 sets, 2 reps. Okay. One set would be rep 1 from the hip, rep 2 from the knee, and the overhead squat with both reps. Okay. And normally I will leave the first set open. All right. So I might assume that he can probably snatch around 35, give or take, if he's a pretty strong athletic kid. If not, we'll keep it a little bit lighter. Okay, but we never really know here. And then the goal each week, again, is to make a little bit of progress and hopefully add on from the week prior, which we usually do. Okay. Moving on, now you'll see after we finish the speed and power exercises, we'll go to a full body strength. This might be a deadlift. It might be a squat, some sort of front or back squat. Again, depending on what we did on the first exercise. So we did a snatch. So for the most part, generally speaking, we'll put a back squat right after that. Okay. And again, a couple light work sets. So we'll just say 30 for 5 reps, 40 kilos for 5. And we'll do 3 to 5 sets of 5 reps. Okay. So lots of sets, 5 repetition sets, guys, for the most part. Generally speaking, that's a very good template to work from for beginners. Okay. Moving on. Assistance 1, Resistance 2. Okay, that's typically some sort of upper body push and an upper body pull. All right. Again, if someone's brand new to training, or they're starting from the basics, and they're just generally speaking, weaker than most, push-ups, some sort of body weight exercise, and a body weight pull. So we'll do body rows, or we can also substitute in um, a band as well. But these are typically a good exercise. So the body weight rows on like the TRX straps, if you have access to it. If not, set up a barbell on a power rack, do them like that, and we'll do 3 to 4 sets of each. Pretty much submaximal repetitions. Okay. My rule of thumb is if they're getting more than 20 to 25 reps in a set, then we will add weight to the exercise. We use chains, plates, bands, some sort of resistance to make the exercise harder. Right. So going on to 4A. Now this right here from 1A to 2A, these are done by themselves. 3A to 3B, you'll notice they're the same number. They're grouped, a group pair. So we do 1 set of push-ups, 1 set of rows. Okay. Okay, moving on to 4A. Typically, this will be some sort of single leg exercise or a posterior chain movement. All right. This could be anything really, depending on the sport and the athlete and what their weaknesses are. For the most part, most kids have weak or underdeveloped hamstrings and some sort of asymmetry between the legs. So one leg is stronger than the other because they're a basketball player or they're a pitcher or something that involves one arm or one leg a lot predominantly, and they just use that leg a lot. So we like to eliminate eliminate asymmetries in the body and create balance. But again, this could be split squats, it can be a lunge, it can be reverse lunge, it can be kettlebell swings, it can be anything you want that's going to involve the hamstrings and the glutes for the most part. So I will just put walking lunge because that's a very basic entry level exercise. And you can kind of see where I'm going with this, but 3 sets usually, 3 to 4 sets, anywhere from 10 to 15 reps per leg. A little higher repetition range. Okay. Now, when we say core, I literally mean the muscles of the abdominals and lower back. Okay. Again, here you can be very creative again. So we work from either stability for the midsection. We look at rotation, and we look at flexion. Okay, 3 movements of the abdominals in the midsection, lower back, that need to be addressed. All right. Nothing gets as simple, either than a sit up or a plank, depending on the person. Sit ups are just fine for you. I do sit ups all the time. They're not as bad as people think, in my opinion. Okay. Depending on the person again. Now, if somebody has extremely bad, posture, then we might want to stay away from sit ups. But for the most part, they're a good exercise. Especially when you take into the fact that the average person has trouble getting up off of the floor or the couch or something like that. So it doesn't hurt to program these in. It's an important movement. Okay. So sit-ups, or I usually start with planks because they don't make someone sore at all when they first come in. And soreness is not always a good thing. Okay. So we'll do 2 to 3 sets here, anywhere from as little as 15 seconds all the way up to a minute. Okay, if they can go past a minute, add some weight. And then at the very end, if we have time, we'll throw in a finisher, and that could be really anything you want to make the very last thing they do somewhat challenging, hard, mentally challenging. Okay, so sled drags are good. Farmer walks are great, or farmer carry, whatever you want to call them. Body weight movements in a circuit, such as bear crawls. Anything really, anything you can think of here that's challenging, loads the body. Sandbag walks are good. All right, you can even do those in a circuit if you want. For 5 to 10 minutes, just crush it. Just go to work. Okay, I usually don't put a rep number with these, depending on the person. We'll usually do it for time. for volume, density training, or we can even throw this in the very beginning, for someone that's a little out of shape and they need a little bit more. Now this I will not usually put in if someone's been training with us long enough and they've been with us for a year or two and they've developed enough general physical preparation where they may not need as much of this. Now somebody new or somebody younger, they might need a little bit more of this type of basic stuff. Helps build the aerobic system. It's just good for general physical preparedness. All right. So don't be afraid to do this stuff, even if you're involved in sprints or football or whatever, or any sort of speed and power sport. And then this is always good, of course, at the end, recovery, prehab exercises, and corrective stretching, and as well as foam rolling. Needs to be done. It's highly neglected. I personally feel that I don't do it myself enough, and you can definitely tell if you neglect it, it'll catch up to you eventually. So take care of your body. All right. That's really about it, guys. This is our basic template that we work from when a new athlete comes in. Again, this is just a very general template. This is not specific to everybody, but more or less, these are the movements that we're looking at. Okay. Again, we have speed and power up here, total body strength with the barbell, assistance 1, assistance 2, assistance 3, core training, and a finisher, and then some stretching at the end. Pretty simple, but it gets the job done. That's it, guys. John Cortese, johncortese.com, ctsgym.com, Napa, California. If you have any questions about your programming or training, just feel free to drop them below, and we will try to get back to you as soon as possible with that. And any other questions as far as making a video for you guys, I'm open to that as well. So just let me know, and we'll try to help you out as much as we can. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.